All right, midweek update time, and we're making a couple of key adjustments from yesterday's builds where we leaned Lamar Jackson at quarterback, Justin Jefferson at wideout, and Trey McBride at tight end. Here's what changed and why, with data and news to back it up. At quarterback, we're moving to Josh Allen at 7,700 with a dash rank of 100. He draws Cincinnati, who have one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank, at 31. He's projected for 25, averages 24 fantasy points per game, and his recent 18 and 10 before that 48-point spike is ideal for tournaments because it keeps the field from going all in at mega ownership. He's sitting at 28.77%, which is high but not prohibitive for the slate's top ceiling. The rushing floor is the separator here, and the news backs it. Buffalo's Josh Allen just set the NFL's all-time regular season record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, with number 76 on an 8-yard run, and national coverage continues to hammer the theme with headlines like "No one does it quite like Josh" and previews spotlighting Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen for Week 14. He checks every box in this matchup, and unlike yesterday's leverage play on Lamar, this is a spot where we want to eat the chalk because the combination of rushing TD equity plus a top 2 game environment outweighs the ownership. For a value quarterback, we're sliding to Tyler Show at 4,600 with a dash rank of 100. He faces Tampa Bay, who have one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 26. He's projected for 14 with recent games of 19, 10, and 19. And ownership at 8.73%. Projections are less reliable if a quarterback hasn't started at least 3 games. And that's the caveat here, but the role is real per the reporting. The Saints named the rookie QB1 after the early season struggles. Alvin Kamara publicly discussed the shuffle, and national picks pieces have weighed in on his trajectory. He's a clean salary release valve if you need it, but we prefer him in stacks with our WR values. At running back, we're staying put with Devon Achane at 8,800 and a dash rank of 100. He gets the Jets, who have one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank, at 24. Projection is 21 with 22 fantasy points per game, and he's steady hot with 22, 25, and 44 in his last 3. Ownership at 16.57% is fair for the ceiling. The deadline coverage that multiple teams called Miami about Achane reinforces league-wide confidence in his profile. We are not overthinking a favorable overall matchup and elite efficiency profile that can get there on limited touches. At wide receiver, we're moving from Justin Jefferson to Chris Olave at 6,500 with a dash rank of 100. Tampa Bay have one of the worst defenses overall at an opponent rank of 26. Projection sits at 15 with a 15 fantasy points per game average, and recent 15, 16, 24. Ownership is just 8.07%. Olave is listed as questionable, so we'll monitor, but the role is strong, and recent reporting around the Saints' receiver room helps the case. After the Seahawks traded for Rashid Shaheed, per national reports, Olave remains the focal point and even sent a public message about his long-term intentions with New Orleans. We're taking the modest ownership discount in a favorable overall matchup, and if he's ruled in, he's a direct leverage pivot off higher-owned WRs in this range. At tight end, we're pivoting from Trey McBride to Tyler Warren at 5,000 with a dash rank of 100. Jacksonville have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, by opponent rank at 12. He's projected for 12, averages 13, and has posted 11 and 10 after an 18 with ownership at 16.1%. News flow around the rookie has been steady. He's been featured in fantasy rookie rundowns. He drew a big face mask from Trent McDuffie that even drew a league fine. And Jonathan Taylor publicly challenged him to stay locked in as the Colts push. We like getting slightly cheaper exposure at a position where volume plus red zone role can beat the field without paying all the way up. For the flex, we're adding James Cook at 7,800 with a dash rank of 100 to correlate with our Allen stacks. He gets Cincinnati, who have one of the worst defenses overall at an opponent rank of 31. He's projected for 18 with 21 fantasy points per game, and 23, 25, and 20 in his last three, and ownership is just 4.5%. That's exactly the kind of low-owned bring-along we want with Allen, especially with national pieces touting him as one of the best running backs in the NFL right now. If this game tilts Buffalo's way, Cook has multiple paths to 100-plus yards and a score while soaking up receiving work. On defense, we're sticking with the Broncos at 3,900 and a dash rank of 100. They face Las Vegas, who have one of the worst defenses overall by opponent rank at 30, and they're projected for 9 with 4.43% ownership. The price is fair. The field is not chasing them, and they correlate well with a more balanced build that spends up at QB and RB. Quick value pool refresh. QB Tyler Show stays our preferred punt at 4,600 for the reasons above. He adds flexibility to pay up elsewhere, and his projection is acceptable for the price in a favorable overall matchup. RB Ray Davis at 4,100 with a dash rank of 100 is a deep salary saver in Bills stacks against Cincinnati's one of the worst defenses overall at 31. He's projected for 2 with 6, 6, and 0 in his last 3 and only 1% ownership. This is pure correlation leverage for large field tournaments when you're heavy on Buffalo. WR Devon Vale at 3,700 with a dash rank of 100 is still a go-to value against Tampa Bay's one of the worst defenses overall at 26. He's projected for 9 with a recent 23-point spike and 7.17 to 4.8% ownership, depending on the site you check. Trade tracking and his backstory pieces have kept him in the headlines, and he pairs well with Shoe. TE Josh Oliver at 2,500 is a pure punt dart with a dash rank of 34 against Washington, who have one of the worst defenses overall at 30. Projection is 3, with microscopic 0.13% ownership. Only for Bills that need absolute minimum salary at tight end. Flex Reggie Gilliam at 4,000 is an ultra-thin MME sprinkle tied to our Buffalo stacks against Cincinnati at opponent rank 31. Ownership sits near 1%. This is strictly a leverage punch in 150 max, not a single-entry play. Def Jets at 2,500 are a viable salary relief defense against Miami, who have one of the worst defenses overall at 25, projected for 6 with 3.03% ownership. You are betting on volatility and sacks at a cheap tag to jam in an extra stud. To summarize the changes from yesterday, we're off Lamar Jackson and onto Josh Allen, because the Bengals offer one of the worst overall matchups for opposing offenses. Allen's rushing touchdown record and consistent red zone usage boost his median, and the correlation with low-owned James Cook could swing tournaments. We're off Justin Jefferson and onto Chris Olave for the ownership discount in a favorable overall matchup, while monitoring his questionable tag. We're off Trey McBride and onto Tyler Warren to save salary without sacrificing role. We're holding Devon Achane and the Broncos defense because nothing material has changed in their projections or matchups to warrant a pivot. We'll keep tracking reports on Olave's status and any late-week changes to Buffalo's depth usage, but as of now, this is our optimal blend of ceiling, correlation, and leverage for midweek builds.